Hello everyone, this is Greyshot, currently going over the Comet and Churchill 2 September patch notes. This is a preview of things to come, and you can actually play the mod right now and test it out. But what does that actually entail? What is inside all these changes? What are they changing? Well, first things first, please don't hurt me. I don't have the commander thing up yet. I will have that up next week, I swear. But that will be when my brother's back from vacation and when my good friend is, well, more free to talk about that stuff, as he is currently busy. But I digress. So what does this change actually entail? First off, you have the different factions for heavy tanks. They're essentially saying, hey guys, the heavy tanks will be called in sooner by decreasing CPs, and pretty much you just need the last building. Okay, that's something. My concern with this is just two major concerns. One, that's essentially possibly reducing the impact of light vehicles and even medium vehicles to an extent. I don't think by that much, as it will just be a strategy to kind of rush for heavies, but you are essentially making it where you could rush them out quicker if you decrease the CPs, because the CP cap is essentially what keeps the heavy tanks at bay for a good 15-20 minutes into a game. If you decrease that, you could see them again sooner, which is horrifying, especially by all the memes and everything of the 15-minute Tiger, or even 12-minute Tiger by what Skippy was able to put out. But again, that, and also you have another aspect of this where, okay, and how do I put this in the nicest way possible? You have because you're also changing the heavy tank to be better against infantry, are you going to make them even more powerful, which makes them a definite get-go to get them? Again, I'm just curious. Plus, also, how are each of these tanks and heavy tanks going to go with their respective faction? Such as the American or Wehrmacht, you could essentially just skip all the way to the end, or even with the OKW, just kind of skip and go there. But the Soviets, you have to unlock each faction, every single base. The same thing with the British. Sure, there's not as many as the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht have, again, a lot of different bases they have to unlock on phases, but technically, I mean, they don't have to. They can just skip all the way to the end. So I could see that being a possible issue for balancing. That way the Wehrmacht get the heavy tanks out the quickest, which, okay, fine. There is that. But still, it might lead to a balance issue, and I'm curious, how quickly could you then deploy a Tiger if you are changing that? So that's just a concern. They are changing medics as well. Looks like they're making them better, just faster. Makes sense. I think medics should be a staple, and they do die a little bit easier than a lot of other units, and they are very important. So the fact you are making them a lot harder to kill and a lot more substantial in the battlefield, okay, I like that. And again, I like it, so that way, again, there's no issues that keep popping up with the medics. So let's go with the OKW first. Let's talk about them. So you say that they're currently dominant early on. Is that just because of Sturm rushes, or is that like with the Verkehrwerfer, like attacking light armor? Like, because again, it's showing here that pre-patch they're very strong, and then they weak mid-game, and then they kind of change a lot more. But I don't know. I'm just very curious on that aspect because of a simple notion, the fact that the OKW's strong early game. I mean, I get it. They have, I mean, like now they have the Panzer IV, so you do have to worry about that. But I don't know about if I would call them the strongest or dominant position early game. Again, not 1v1 guy, more 4v4. But still, I'm just questioning that just slightly. But let's see what they're changing. So first off, they're changing up the manpower stuff. Overall, again, from the fuel and everything, the biggest thing here is the truck's going to be a little bit cheaper, which is fine, again. And it looks like they're adding the cost of the Volk squads. Fine. For 250 manpower, and how many vet and how many upgrades you can get with them, kind of makes sense to give them a slight increase, but we'll see how much that is. The headquarters building, again, you can see here it's going to be cheaper, but you still have to upgrade it to unlock better units. Essentially get the Panzer authorization, which essentially makes up the difference for the fuel income. So if you just want to go for Obersoldaten, you can just go for Obersoldaten, which is nice. I think that's a lot nicer. But again, the flak gun's disable until you get the upgrade, so maybe not great. Maybe not great. And also must be repurchased if the Panzer HQ is destroyed and is required for all heavy tank call-ins. So again, you have to unlock it to get the best tank. But then on the flip side, it makes sense why you have to pay the extra. Already in Panzer headquarters, you have to repay all 120 fuel to unlock it. So it makes sense. I mean, if you're going to unlock it like that, especially with a lot of people using the flak emplacement more as a the Freer Panzer headquarters more as a defensive orientation on the map, with it guarding key pieces of territory. It makes more sense that it would be more costly if you lose it to then lose that stuff instead of buying the upgrade and having it still unlocked later on. Volk squads, only 10 manpower. That honestly, and they're not changing the reinforcement cost, so honestly, it's not that huge of a deal. It is slightly more, but I think this just fits more to where how actually their power scaling works. Because again, Vet 5 Volk squads are incredible, but again, you have to get them up to that point. But the potential is there. Sturm Pioneers, again, they're increasing their strength and veterancy and everything along those lines. I think this is very good. They're moving some bonuses a little bit sooner. The concussion grenade is now Vet 1, which makes so much sense. I rarely ever saw a concussion grenade in any replay. I can't imagine the last time I saw a concussion grenade, because it just took so long to upgrade that thing. And I think that's like the biggest veterancy issue was the Sturm Pioneers, like that of my mind. Like originally I would call out the Sturmtiger and the Kubel for having veterancy issues, but honestly the Sturmtiger might be the only one. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. Right now everything else is pretty good for balancing. Let's see. MG34 performs well in the role, but it's lower damage in comparison to other machine gun, make difficult to gain veterancy. So they're changing the veterancy. That's fine. Again, I mean, faster you get to Vet 1, faster you get armor-piercing rounds, and that just makes it incredibly potent, especially if used correctly. So I think that's fine. I don't think that's anything too major. Kubel, they're making it more powerful. Yes, as a fan, I love I really, really enjoy it. So yeah, that's interesting. So it looks like they're increasing damage, and this will also decrease repair time without changing the durability of the unit. But they're changing the health from 240 to 192. Okay, so how? Like, I'm curious. Are you making it weaker now? Because again, it's like I'm very curious to see if this damage modifier is going to be enough, which would be awesome if it was, but I'm curious. For Cannon Warfare, again, essentially they're changing the camo of it, that you're not going to be able to just keep moving and hiding it and making it, like, navigate. There are going to be some, like, amazing games from, like, Skippy or someone that still manages to get behind enemy lines and blow people up, or Von Ivan. But, honestly, they are making it now that, again, it can't move. And also, retreat function removed. So, you're not going to be able to just click retreat and immediately make that thing run. You're going to have to make it move a lot more. They also increase the size, increase the range. But yeah, it can't move, only rotate when you're camouflaged. But that does make sense. So I'm actually curious to see if they're doing all of this and they're making it more like an AT gun, if they're going to actually change any of the models or anything on that to make it actually more substantial, like it's setting down and then retreating and stuff like that. Or no longer retreating, but moving around. I'm curious about that. So the flak emplacement, a slight price veterancy adjustment incentivized the use of the battle group headquarters over the mechanized. I can see that. The medical one was honestly just used for healing, as far as I know, and saw in games. It's just because of the fact that mechanized, you have the Stuka, you have the Puma, and the Lux. And then what do you have on the medical? Sure, you have a sport gun, but why wouldn't you get this? Why, instead of a sport gun, why wouldn't you get a Stuka? Instead of a infrared half-track, you could get a Puma for doing recon if you really wanted to. And then, of course, you have the half-track, which is great AA, but you can also get the Schwer headquarters and just use it for free. So, again, I can definitely see why they're trying to incentivize it. Tiger 2. The King Tiger changes have been made to make its gun more reliable at forcing off enemy infantry by increasing the amount of health damage it does. Okay, hold on. This thing already one-shots infantry? Yes, that's a great idea. Let's make it even better at killing infantry. Oh god, while reducing the radius that if it can kill full health models. Okay, so essentially you're making it do more health without the instant wipe. Fine, but I'm curious to see how that would go. Because again, it's already so powerful that it's a fine balance to increase it to do more damage without wiping squads. So I'm wondering if it just does more damage and just starts instant killing squads because it's just zeroing in on some. Again, unintended consequences, but I'm curious to see. Again, they're doing this with a lot of the other heavy tanks, so like I said, I'm curious. So yeah, the AoE distance, they're changing. Then again, the damage, they're also changing quite a bit. Scatter, they're shrinking that. Their Spearhead to Veterancy 1, Combat Blitz Veterancy 3. So it's not going to be able to escape. That might be a bit of an issue, at least for the King Tiger. Again, if you can't blitz away, well, okay, the Combat Blitz is two things. One, yes, you can get away, but second, you can actually use it to advance. Whatever reason, the enemy has a hard time hitting you because of the bonuses, and the King Tiger can still hit you pretty damn well, so you have to watch out for that. Owa Blitz Truck. I never got this thing. Like, again, this is the OKW variant, not the Wehrmacht. This thing, yeah. Now, again, you have an ambulance healing ability. Fantastic. It's a little bit faster, better rotation, less costly. They're essentially just incentivizing people, please use this thing, because no one ever uses it. And honestly, I can see why. Essentially, it's a half-track that you can move around. I mean, now it's healing, so that's cool. But the problem with it is the fact that you would have a medical base, and you would rather use that. Now that it's healing, actually, I could see people using this as a medical inside their base, or something similar to an ambulance where they can move between hot points on the map for people to heal, other than using a medical and kind of keep that more safe and secure. So we'll see how this does. I'm curious. We have the Incendiary Barrage, which, again, apparently they're making better. So yeah, their increase, so scatter angles decrease, max. The reload on it, I think it can reload quicker. But yeah, they're essentially just making it better. Cool, awesome. I mean, yeah, sure. The Incendiary Barrage I thought was fine. If they're making it better, I'm curious how much better they're making it, but we'll see. The Hetzer's in a good spot, but it has slightly lowered its veterancy requirements due to the inability to harm vehicles. Duh. It doesn't have a main gun, and honestly, it is a kind of, like, the Flame Hetzer is compared to a lot to the KV-8, because again, it's a tank that can shoot fire. It should be amazing. The thing is smaller, easier to kill, and just overall kind of a nuisance in my eyes. Sure, if they decrease veterancy, then it might speed it up and make it better, but I'm curious if that will change it too much. Again, the Hetzer is never something I'm like instantly going to. I've seen people use, but we'll see. Maybe I can get a Vet 5 Flame Hetzer. That would be awesome. But I'm just of that opinion that instead of getting this, I would rather get, I don't know, like, I mean, it's good against buildings, yes, and has a flamethrower, which is always awesome, but I feel like you still need to protect it because it's it can very easily die. I would say that. Or get annihilated just by flanks and stuff. Overwatch flares. So the ability became too powerful. Missed the other. Oh boy. All right. Let's see. Improvements to the Overwatch doctrine as it provided the doctrine with strong reconnaissance for minimum input. The flares are required to be placed on points manually. In return, the ability can be used on territory points captured by allied players. So now you have to place it down. It's no cost. And take 7 seconds to plant. So essentially just time to take it. All right, it should be fine. It's just one more thing you have to do when you take a point. Radio silence. In order to make this ability more attractive and give it more tangible use, the ability now lets infantry move at slightly higher speeds in order to supplement their ability. Ability cost may increase accordingly. So faster movement and you're hidden. Okay, that makes sense. Kind of an ambush. Command Panther is now been tied to tech like all their heavy tanks. In addition, the vision has just been adjusted to that of a regular scout unit. To compensate for its loss in scouting power and tech requirements, its cost has been decreased. Okay, that's interesting. So it's 9 CP for a command tank. Okay, so I mean it's a Panther still, so that's still earlier. I think, 9 CP if you're doing a good game will be around 16 minutes, right? Like 14, 16 minutes around there. So essentially it decreased its range, and they, of course, made it to the last column. So you're not just going to be able to skip the Panzer headquarters building. You have to have it, which is nice, I guess. That way you force people to have that. So you want to have an early game Panther, I guess, if you are getting all these upgrades. Or a sight bonus from 20 to 15. Okay, decreasing that, but it is a little cheaper, which I think you will definitely see more people use it then. And compared to a Panther, I think 15 more fuel and 30 more manpower. So for all the bonuses you get, that seems like a really good deal. Even if the ore is slightly decreased, I think that's still good. Infiltration grenades. We feel the infiltration grenades are too easily used. Yeah, it's cheap and it does a lot of damage. So they're increasing the cost. Sturmtiger. Okay, the Sturmtiger will now require a fully operational Schwerer Panzer headquarters to deploy. Damn it. It is 8 CP now. Okay, so it was, what, 11? So, okay, maybe earlier Sturmtigers, which, once again, I remember, it's like, I remember certain quotes from Relic in general, and I love it when they kind of, not contradict themselves, but go back on previous, okay, contradict. Like I love, like, yeah, we're gonna have a finish, was it Theater of War, and that never happened. Now this is, we want to focus on light vehicles. I specifically remember that from a patch, and now they're like, okay, heavy tanks are a thing. Sure. I don't mind it, because again, you're just allowing me to get the Sturmtiger out quicker. God, if you put the B4 at 4 CP points, again, that'll be incredible. But that's overpowered. that's just throwing everything, like, oh my god. Anyway, back on point. Fallschirmers, not very popular. Yeah, okay. But they're now giving them the Car 98s. They're decreasing the CPs to get them. Again, they're essentially, you get them, you can do a free upgrade, then it costs more munitions. Get essentially their like the additional FG42s. And then they're also making them better. Looks like a lot of the MG42s, yeah, they're just making it better overall. Oh god, they are. Holy mackerel. Well, expect Fallschirmers to be MVP of the game. No, I don't think they're going to be like the new Jaeger infantry squads. If they are, that'll be hilarious. But they are doing a lot of really good bonuses, and they're only 320 now. So, are we going to see Fallschirmer spam again? That would be interesting. Sector Assault. The anti-infantry airplanes of the Sector Assault are too effective. Slightly. Instantly pinning all enemy infantry in a large area. Slightly. The suppression on these planes has been significantly toned down. Thank God. And, yeah. Thank God. Again, just a lot better. Squads should no longer get pinned unless they are strafed multiple times. It's helpful. It's helpful. Because, yeah, that was just insane. The amount of planes that coming in, and then it's like, oh, you have to watch this. Oh, and my infantry are down. Dang it. Assault artillery, again, now looks like you can just call them in. Now drops 20 artillery shells over a 15 meter radius, following up to 15 smokes. This is a lot better. This is a hell of a lot better. Because, again, you're not just focusing on a point, you're focusing on anywhere on the map. And I could easily see using assault artillery now for very key targets to advance on. Again, that works so much more. That works just a lot better, honestly. Again, you have to be in sight. But again, if you're trying to break the enemy position, scout it, artillery it, move up with the smoke so it's harder to hit. Storm Officer is completely reworked to be an effective combat unit with the additional veterancy and his retreat on death mechanic being removed. Okay, I'm curious how this goes. To promote his role as a combat unit and to reduce blobbing, his aura has been removed. What? Damn it. Like, okay, fine. Oh man, it was always a great day when you see a blob with a Sturm Officer and you get the sniper with the lucky shot that manages to kill the Sturm Officer and just all of them retreat. Oh well. Retreat on Sturm Officer has been removed. Passive aura has been removed. So, what? You just get the call-in abilities now? CP requirement from 2 to 1 matches the, okay, that's fine. And target size from 1 to, okay, a little bit harder. Sure, I mean, that's one of the major sticking points with this unit was that ability to be, not a pain, but just be different. So, curious about that. I mean, I'm just curious overall to see how they change it up. But anyway, the veterancy. Reduce ability cost by 10 munitions. That's actually pretty nice. That's a pretty nice bonus. Increase squad size to 5 plus 10 on ability range. 40% accuracy. Received accuracy decreased. And switches to an STG 44. Jesus Christ, that's a decent Vet 5 upgrade. Command Tiger. Oh boy, what are they doing? The Command Tiger will have its main gun anti-infantry damage standardized to deal more reliable damage. Veterancy requirements will slightly reduce in line with other austere Tiger ones. Okay, that's fine. It seems like the same thing they're doing with the King. Yeah, it looks like they're decreasing veterancy, so that thing will shoot up a lot quicker. Scatters decreased. So essentially what they're trying to do is make it more powerful but less one-shots, which wasn't it another gentleman, I could be wrong, I'm thinking it's AE or something along those lines that mentioned that they're consistently removing a lot of the one-shot abilities in Co. But the problem with that is now the games are taking significantly longer because units are harder to kill. Unless you're just bad like me and just forget the micro units and you just die. But I'm curious to see how this goes. Like I said, a lot of the heavy tanks are my biggest question. Are they going to be now a major proponent because people are going to rush them? And if people rush them, are they going to be something that's going to be, again, we're going to just see 15-minute everything? But again, we'll see. We'll see. The time takes to complete the throw of Savage is reduced, being a doctrinal ability slot that replaces regular Savage. We feel that it should not force players into more risky situations. Makes sense. Okay. So this, you get that 15 munitions plus the fuel. So it's pretty good. It's a nice bonus ability. So now, after all of that, we are on the UK. Jesus Christ. Which, the big thing is they're essentially trying to balance out infantry section. Which, yeah, apparently they're overperforming since anti-tank grenades on Royal Engineers were introduced to help zone on vehicles. Yeah, I would say that. So alright, so what are they doing? So the accuracy of these things are being increased. Their damage is being decreased. The received accuracy is being increased. The squad models gain additional received accuracy in cover. Assault Tommy upgrade removes the cover bonus and grants it as a passive instead of upgraded recovery accuracy. Sure, very interesting. And pyrotechnic supplies upgrade slight range from 50 to 42. Sure, we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Again, very curious to see how that changes with the Brits because, I don't know, in my opinion, that's one of the major things the Brit has is a strong early game, in my opinion. Because, again, late game, if you're talking about the Brits, they do lack in some key areas. So their infantry is usually the best part. And honestly, it's not like they have other frontline infantry. The Brits, yeah, you have call-in abilities like Fallschirmjägers, you can do commandos. But, like, you have Grenadiers and you have, like, Panzer Grenadiers. What are you going to do with Brits? Like, they don't have, like, another frontline heavy base infantry. Royal Engineers are not that. So, again, curious to see how that goes when decreasing that. They're essentially the main strength of that. The Vickers, to counteract the slightly reduced performance in the infantry section and improve Brit build diversity. Great. The Vickers is getting more suppression. The best MG in the game is getting even better. Wonderful. Oh my god. British Sniper, again, takes a long time to reload, so less reload time. Perfect. The Comet is lacking in its role as a premium late game tank due to its lack of combat scaling, weak anti-infantry capabilities outside of white phosphorus shells. I agree. Alright, they're upgrading the Comet. Nice. The manpower's reduced, scatter's reduced, damage seems to be increasing slightly, it looks like. Yeah, it seems to be increasing. Veteran C3, now it's 20% reload speed. Okay, nice. And now it's Heavy Crush, which, once again, curious what the Heavy Crush of the Comet's going to be. Sure. I'm curious to test it out. Anyway, look, whatever they change to the Comet, it'll be better what it is now, because if you ask people, what would you rather have, a Comet or a Churchill, they're going to go with a Churchill, just because it can take a beating and so do pretty well, and then combine that with Fireflies and you're golden. Comets, like I said, they just, I don't know, there was just something lacking about them that just made it not worth the resources you put into it. Anyway, Cromwell. We feel the Cromwell does not stand out compared to other medium tanks. Yeah. The reinforced its role as a fast cruise tank. We slightly increasing its mobility and survivability. Okay. Yeah, that works a lot better. Target size decreased and acceleration increased. That's a lot better. To me, that's the problem with the Cromwell. It's like, I can see the Panzer IV as a Blitz, and it's great for this. And T-34 is Ram, great for this. What does the Cromwell have? What has smoke, I think. But like for me, the Cromwell doesn't have that standout thing, like for me at least. And maybe this speed increase will be enough to make it be like, yes, the Cromwell, the Sonic of KOTU. You know, hopefully it's normal Sonic, not original, what the original movie was gonna go Sonic with that very weird design that somehow, I don't know how, but the people behind Cats were like, we're going to copy that idea. And it's like, oh, okay. 2 movies with terrible furry monstrosities in a year. Never would have guessed it. Fireflies. We think the Firefly performs as well as Tank Destroyer, but it's slightly too expensive given its low fire rate. Oh, God. That's a... Alright, that's fine. So they're decreasing the fuel. Sure, why not? The Firefly, in my opinion, is an amazing tank destroyer. See, if you're making it cheaper, alright, that's cool. That'll help out with the heavy tanks, because if they're coming out quicker, make sure you get those tank destroyers out quicker. The tulip rockets are going cost decrease, and firing cost remains the same. Okay, perfect. So they're just making it a little bit cheaper. Churchill. Because of its grandier ability and high health, the Churchill has been slightly overperforming. No duh. Against 8 tank and when deploying numbers. In order to make this less effective in either scenario, the following changes have been made. Oh no. Population has been increased. The grenade ability has been changed to vet 1. So now they're not changing the health. They're not doing anything else. So essentially you're minusing 1 squad of like Royal Engineers if you still get the triple Churchill charge. Which, okay, that's fine. Oh god, emplacements. Please, 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 please change this. All placements can now be torn down. Oh, nope, never mind. They're not changing anything. Remember when emplacements used to be good? I made a video saying like the perfect emplacement, but like it's dumb that a forward assembly still can't provide the bonuses of all that stuff. Anyway, yeah, so essentially you can destroy them now, but you don't get any money from it. Okay. Churchill, Crocodile, and Aviary. Both the Churchill and Aviary now require end stage tech in order to be deployed. CP requires... oh, you have to get it. Oh, damn. So you need the anvil or hammer as well. I mean, that makes sense if you're going with the Panzer headquarters, having that additional Panzer authorization to unlock it. To require the Brits to unlock this too. So, I guess... I mean, like, I guess that means that the British, the Wehrmacht... yeah, the British, the Wehrmacht, the OKW... I guess even the Soviets require just like 3 different buildings. I'm curious to see if you add up the fuel for each of them. Like again, like how much it would be for each one. I'm still thinking the Wehrmacht is probably the best out of each scenario because it's... Sure, like the first one's I think, what, 40? And then it's 90, and then 10, 15, something like that. So it's 150 fuel. And then like the both British, it's 40, 110, and 50. So that's a little bit more expensive. OKW, it's still 120, and it's gonna be 160 possibly. Like, no, it'd actually be cheaper with the medical. So maybe the OKW one wouldn't. Maybe a little bit cheaper in that regard. Let's see, the major would be, let's see, about 40 to 50 with the major, which is what, 120. So the Americans would be the most expensive. No, the Soviets would. Because again, the Soviets are both 291s, and then a third one, which is 20. So you're looking at 200. So the Soviets seem to be the odd man out for getting their armor, at least fuel-wise, at least in my head, maybe taking a little bit longer to get their stuff out. But again, that's just me thinking without doing the calculations and everything. Maybe I'll do that for another video, being like, how quickly can you deploy the armor with these stats? So, any case, USF time. Jackson. We think the Jackson is slightly overperforming for its cost, but we recognize that it is a backbone of US. Yeah, I was gonna say. So fuel costs have been slightly increased to better match its performance. I don't know. I'm of 2 minds of this because yes, you're right. It is the backbone, and it is very good. But on the flip side, compared that to you just essentially made, yeah, it's slightly cheaper in manpower wise, but you essentially just made the fuel like same to a Firefly, and they're 2 very different units in terms of countering armor. I mean, yes, you have the extra armor piercing rounds for Jacksons. I just I'm of a different mindset of that. Again, it's still more manpower, so the Firefly, in my opinion, is slightly better than the Jackson, but that's just me. That's just making it more like you're trying to make it more with the Firefly, but the Firefly is definitely just overperforming, I think, in a lot of key areas compared to the Jackson. So sure, why not? I mean, I still think that's a bit of a burden for the US. I still think that the biggest issue they have, again, it is that armor, and I think having that's even if it's 5 fuel, I'm just like, that can still add up to quite a bit. Hopefully you don't lose your armor. Anyway, the M8 Scott is having its fire rate reduced due to lack of input required. In return, the unit is having its barrage times reduced to reward those who use its abilities. Okay, so essentially they're making be like, you must manually use this vehicle in order to be better. That's fine. The Scott I find can be under a good player can be quite annoying because it just auto fires like crazy. But yeah, well, again, fine. And it looks like they're doing the same thing with Pack Howitzer. They're just toning it down to make it like, you must actually pinpoint this in order to be better. So, okay. And looks like they're decreasing their recharge time. Mortar Half-track. The white phosphorus shells dealt too much damage for how cheap. Yeah, I'll say that. It was literally just a very cheap defense over time. So the shells have been adjusted to deal less damage over time. Yeah, essentially use them as like a keep away. You put them over a point and the enemy wouldn't go near it because they know they would die. And since they were so cheap, you could deploy 2 mortar half-tracks and just flip-flop between the 2 and just keep points under your control. So that was fun. The Pershing. With the requirement of attack, the Pershing has received a durability adjustment to improve its survivability. Yes! The unit now has more hit points but has reduced frontal armor. Okay, the anti-infantry performance of its main gun has also been standardized with other heavy tanks, although it will still deal the most damage. Yeah, I was going to say, this thing is amazing at killing infantry, and I'm glad they're keeping it that way. But, I will say even though it's very good at killing infantry, the armor, the front armor is my possibly one issue. They are increasing the health by a ton. It is getting a lot of health, which I think if a lot of people were to say, I think people would like more health overall, because if you kept the armor the same, it bounced shots, but it wasn't amazing. So fine, you decrease the front armor slightly, but you give it a ton of health. I think most people are fine with that, to me, because I feel like a lot of people are more like, we need more health on this Pershing to make it more long lasting. Time on target. In order to make this ability to destroy enemy howitzers or other stationary defenses reliably, changes have been made to have the last 3 shells to ensure they land directly in the center of the ability. Final 3 shells no longer scatter. Okay, that's nice. Again, a lot of times if you're killing enemy artillery, the best thing to do is IL-2 precision bomb strike, but when they have a lot of AA, time on target is probably the next best thing, but it does suck when they do miss, so making sure that if you aim it right, it does kill it, does help. Rifle Company. We felt that Rifle Company was wait, what? Okay, yep, I mean, I guess, yeah. Underused commander because it had some mediocre abilities. Wow, I wonder if they looked at my commander's ranked, and I'm sorry if you did. Again, I'm just a nobody who doesn't know much about Company of Heroes 2 that for some reason people listen to. But I still thank everyone for watching, and sometimes I have positive things to say and some important things to say. But hey, at least they're changing it. So yeah, so it looks like the Rifleman Flyers have been merged with a flamethrower slot. Yes. So that's cool. The Rifleman Field Defense added to the Doctrine. Great. And the Fire Up ability exhaustion debuff removed. Also really, really like that. Again, it seems like they're just making Riflemen just better overall and just more... they just have way more abilities and tactics on the field, which is great. Rifleman Field Defenses. Riflemen will now be able to plant mines slightly faster. Again, perfect. And the M6 mine max number of engineers from 2 to 4. Okay. Paratroopers, and this is with also the support squad, which comes in, I think, the recon support doctrine, and then you have paratroopers, which is an airborne. Paratroopers are generally in a good spot right now, but they received some minor changes to further solidify their performance. Which, what does that mean? Paratroopers' time demolitions are now guaranteed to destroy abandoned team weapons. Okay. Targets. I just imagine someone placing a demo and just trying to wait, like, again, just time it just right for them to leave the demo, run, and then someone just walk in on it. Anyway, target size from 1, okay, slightly decreased, and adjusted veterancy bonuses. Okay, that'd been nice. Received bonus. I mean, that's pretty good. So we're on the Wehrmacht now, or the Austere. Pioneers. We ordered to give the Eastern factions repair times that are more in line with those of the Western Front armies. Minesweeper upgrades on Pioneers will now give additional repair speed. That's nice. Again, the Wehrmacht, the problem with them is they have such big, heavy tanks. It takes so long to repair. So giving extra repair speed does help them out quite a bit. So that's nice. Like I said, I'm not seeing too many things here that's like, too off balance. Like I said, I'll point out things with heavy tanks. I'll point out things with the cost of some tank destroyers, especially if you're, again, possibly allowing, at least in my head, heavy tanks out sooner. Because again, the CP is the real thing that keeps heavy tanks away. If you bring that down, you're going to see a lot more heavy tanks early on. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what happens. Meanwhile, we have the mortar. The counter barrage ability will receive a higher range to make the ability. Are you kidding me? Giving more players more incentive to use it. Who wasn't using the counter barrage? Am I the only one that was using it? Was I the only one? I'm actually curious on that. I'm really curious because I swear a lot of people use that ability, and I swear that thing is very potent. So yeah, the fact that you're incentivizing people to use it, trust me. Look, the counter barrage in all pieces for the Wehrmacht is used quite effectively. So maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me to the fact that I feel like the German mortar just literally owns the American one and the Soviet one. The Soviet one I like because of the flare. But other than that, dear Lord, if you're making the counter barrage more effective, that's a red flag. That's red flag in my head. The coaxial machine gun 22 received the same penetration values as the OKW one. Okay, that's fine. We have a half-track. We would like to make an unupgraded half-track more integrated into the Austrier's core support weapons and combined arms. An increase in sight range will allow it to spot team weapons. Okay. So yeah, I think the half-track's fine. Again, I think maybe some tomfoolery could happen with the healing ability, but overall, I think it could be pretty good. So the Panzer Grenadier and Stormtroopers with G43s. G43s for these squads have been changed to make more interesting and attractive choice of their standard. Was G43s not an attractive choice? I thought they were already attractive choice. What are you doing to them? Oh god, you're making their accuracy better. Oh god, you're making the cooldown quicker. Oh god, you're making the aim time faster. Oh god, the cost is decreased. Oh wait, decreased or increased? Cost return to 60. The price has been. What? Oh wait, weren't they 90? Or am I thinking of the wrong doctrines? Wait, maybe I'm thinking of the right doctrines, but if they are, or were they 45? Panzer Grenadiers. I have to double check. But whatever the case may be, I thought G43s were already pretty damn attractive. Maybe that's me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just my head. It's like I think this way, and then what the actual meta is. But I don't know. I was right about the Churchill, and then went down the list, and like, there's the Churchill. Anyway, the bunker upgrade. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So the MG upgrade sight range will be reduced to match its firing range, so that the upgraded bunker can no longer self-spot enemies from very long range, as the upgrade bunker has extraordinary long range sight that was not in line with its cost and function. So the bunker's sight has been greatly reduced, and the total sight reduced. So again, there you can see here like the pre-patch and the post-patch. So yeah, maybe it's just me, but I wish there maybe was a way where they can make this more of an oval, where it's kind of just a little less sight in the back and it extends to more in the front. Like again, like kind of like a bowling pin sort of like esque. The reason I would say that, or like kind of maybe that thin, but like kind of more in like an oval esque, just simply because of the fact that it would allow people to sneak up on the bunker, but then you would still have its effectiveness of long range sight. I do agree that reducing the sight is beneficial, because again, if you reduce the sight of the bunker, that helps people sneak up on it a lot quicker and get around it if it's not being supported. Because what ends up happening is people just bunker spam a lot of them, and they just hold the line, and they can pretty much see and shoot anything that comes by. Even if you have tanks, then you have, let's say, a pack gun there, and you're totally fine with holding lines. So them changing that up, I think, is a lot better. Again, so yeah, they are absolutely dropping it down. So now it's 9 CPs for Tiger. That's still going to take a little bit of time. Was it 9 CPs? Again, I still think like best player can probably get that around 14, 16 minutes. I'll probably say average would be 18 to 20. Well, no, would it be 18 to 20 minutes? Maybe. Again, but if you're having a good game, like again, if you focused on that CP, you could probably get that Tiger a lot quicker. But anyway, additional anti-infantry performance on its main gun been standardized. Great. Now requires Battle Phase 3 to be deployed. Okay. Wait, Battle Phase 3 to be deployed. Does that mean you need the Panzer headquarters made? If you don't need the Panzer... Okay, hold on. If you don't need the Panzer headquarters built... Oh, right, you have to build the buildings too. So you have the battle phase and the... Okay, so that's a little bit of cost. But, again, that could be interesting if you could just research Phase 3 and then you can unlock it. That... I'm curious about that. Like I said, I'm having red flags about, like, for whatever reason, my brain about Tigers being deployed at the 15-minute mark. Again, the 9 CPs is what's keeping me back. But I'm like, no, I think if you're really good, you could possibly get that quickly. But that's just me. Especially if you're upgrading. If you're upgrading the CPs, if you make buildings and stuff like that, it does help increase that. So we'll see. Spawning scopes. Spawning scopes give combat, too much advantage. They're decreasing the delay before it becomes active. Okay, it makes sense. Supply drop. Ostrip doctrine has been decreased in the overall manpower cost in order to match the ones from the airborne. Okay. The command Panzer IV. Let's see. Now requirement is 7 CP points, and you must have one of the buildings to unlock it. The fuel has been decreased, and the aura reduction modifier from 8 to 9 was as we previously intended. Okay, interesting. We'll see. I mean, like, already the command Panzer's great. I don't think them doing that's going to do too much, and I think 7 CP is a good spot for it. I think that's fine. That's not too early, and I think that's just late enough to where you will start seeing some medium armor. So, like, I think a lot of the medium armor stuff is, like, between, like, 6 to 8 is where you get that medium armor. I know the KV-1's at the 8 CP, but it's more of an advanced medium, in my opinion, or because it's one of the weakest heavy tanks. It has a lot of armor, fair point, but its main gun is maybe not necessarily the best. But I think there's a change down here from when I was scrolling earlier, so we'll see what they do. Any case, and then like 9+ is like heavies. But anyway, target weak point. In order to make this target weak point abilities less confusing, as they have different effects on different units. Yeah, it's kind of, wait, target weak point on a Puma, target weak point on a Stug, target weak point on an Elephant. Do they all do the same thing? Well, you can find out by using the unit. And then just scratching your head. So, yeah, the Stugi ASFE and the Stugi ASFG target weak point renamed to Heat Shell. And then the Puma variant is replaced with aim shot ability. Okay, that's fine. That works a lot better because it's hilarious that some of them were just like that. All right, so now we're on to the Soviets, and then I'll kind of give a final wrap up because we've been going for quite some time. Support weapon Campania. Cost of Tier 2 Highcat. The cost of Tier 2 has been slightly cheaper to make it more competitive alternative to Tier 1, as we are giving the faction easier time backtacking to get support weapons. I actually like that. I really, really like that because, again, I like Tier 1 because right now I've been seeing a heavy amount of MG spam by the Wehrmacht, so that's how I counter. Plus, if you use the sniper on the OKW, it's a good manpower decrease. Plus, penals are very, very good for frontline troops. However, I will say that I think they also did that for another decrease down below. But it's also nice because, again, you can quickly get that. Backtech it, and then do that. I know 10 fuel might not seem like enough or like a huge difference, but it's substantial. I mean, it does help. Maxim will be slightly better area of effect suppression. Thank God, because that's my issue. I would fire like 3 bursts and nothing would suppress. Conscript 7th man upgrade. Due to the popular sentiment of this upgrade arriving too late. Too late? Now requires Tier 3 and AT grenades and Molotovs to be researched, or mechanized armor companion Tech 4. Okay, so really it's just slightly quicker. It's not that much quicker. And if you're going to be focusing on Molotovs and AT grenades, and you get that, you're going to be relying on conscript. So that makes sense. Okay, that's fine. That's not too much. Because if you just had it I think it would be way too early. I think it would be way too early for some man squads. So Minesweeper upgrade now gives extra repair speed. Perfect. That is a lot better. This and the 70. Oh god, no. The barrage ability has been changed to reduce rock killing power and deal more reliable health damage instead. Damn it. I liked it when I literally one-shotted a Wehrmacht MG. That was always great. Even my last stream, there was like 2 MGs. I'm like, give him a second, fire, dead. Give it a second, fire, dead. So, yeah, okay, fine. That makes a lot of sense. But at least it's still losing health, which is fine. Guards, ability renamed to prevent confusion with the conscripts. Hit the dirt. Renamed to firing positions. Yeah, that's always great. Just, you know, rename things so you don't confuse your audience, especially when you have 2 things exactly alike. Conscript assault package. The doctrinal PPSH upgrades for conscripts have been changed to be available earlier. Okay, sure, why not? Just, you know, you Sturm pioneers, you know, we want to make you slightly better. Well, sorry, conscripts are now going to be able to fight you even quicker with those upgrades. Oh boy, that's going to be interesting. Shock troops. Grenade cooldown shock troops is being increased to reduce how many grenades can be thrown. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's 100% fine. The grenades on there were ridiculously fast for shock troops, so that's fine. KV-1, the KV-1 receives some changes to make it better suited as a defensive tank at later levels of veterancy and allowed to threaten exposed infantry and try to bypass it. So why? Added hold-down mode for Vet 1. Okay, we'll have to see how much that... Again, which grants 15% reload and 20% receive damage. So essentially, you're locking it down. Okay, I could see that being a lot better, especially from like a not in place. Well, the weird thing is about that is you're essentially having this bunker, is a very expensive bunker of a unit that doesn't move. That even though again it can fire slightly faster and it can take more damage, its gun is not amazing. It's a 76mm, but increased performance on the hull and coxswain machine guns to match those of the T-34. Wait, it wasn't matched? The T-34 had better... Oh my god. Sure, why not? But no, that's good. I think that's any bonus to the KV-1 is helpful, because I think that is a heavy tank that I still don't see that many people use, because I think people think that, and honestly, rightfully so, it's essentially a T-34 and a half. And you're honestly, I would rather just have 2 T-34s than a KV-1, because then you could just overwhelm an enemy. A KV-1, it's just slow, meandering, and doesn't have the greatest firepower. If this is going to be more changed to an anti-infantry unit and more hull down, and just like a stationary, like we're going to lock this thing down to hold this position and just let the enemy throw itself at it, I like that. I think that's kind of cool. IS-2, again, matched with its CP, which, okay. So the IS-2, due to its high armor, the IS-2 will come slightly later than the Tiger. Additionally, it has received a booster's main gun along with the new veterancy. Okay, I notoriously gave this thing a terrible rating for my overall heavy tanks, and I think I consider it like the worst heavy tank. Again, was not for its armor. It was actually for its accuracy and main gun for just bouncing all the time. But if you're making it better at hitting infantry and killing infantry, maybe not against armor, but still, fine. I think that's worth it. Again, I think that's fine, and I think it would shoot it back up. You also get fragmentation shell replaces veterancy 1 capture ability. Thank God, because I'd rather just use a T-34. Why knock out the main gun of an IS-2 to capture a point? I get it, like under like, yeah, capture the point. It would be a cool thing, but very rarely do you send IS-2 to capture a point when you're about to lose. Yeah, you're in hot water if that's the case. So yeah, you have a fragmentation shell with ranges 40, 45 munitions, and it looks like it's just great at just killing infantry, and deals a mini stun critical to vehicles when hit or deflection. All right, that's cool. That's a nice ability. That's a very cool ability to have for the unit. Partisan troops have received some changes to solidify the role as behind enemy lines infiltration to ambush infantry. So the sight has been increased. The capture rate has been capture rate's been increased. First strike modifier on Vet 2 makes sense, and Vet 1 now has concussive trap ability that can be planted on captured territory points. 15 munitions, temporary stuns an enemy squad that enters the capture point. So you essentially capture it, place the mine, enemy comes like, oh, let's go capture the point. Then you have the swarm come out, they're pinned, and you kill them. That's cool. I like that. I like that ability. I like that idea. Partisan tank hunters, reinforcement costs and timing reduced to match those over. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this was my issue. It's literally the cost to reinforce was so expensive. It was ridiculous. So yeah, AT partisan rating force, a lot better. Awesome. That's cool. Again, and by the way, anything I say during this is just my own opinion through tactics. Don't get me wrong, I do have some standing because I do play this game consistently and do tons of replay, stuff like that. I don't do the 1v1 scene, I do more the 4v4 scene. But a lot of these issues that I've addressed in my previous videos, they seem to be addressed here. So again, hats off to you guys for the most part. But once again, you have not done the one thing, which is make the B4 in other doctrines, which is probably my longest held gripe. But again, it's fine. I love counterattack, so I'm not going to complain too much. Though in tank hunters, you know, it would have been nice. KV2. The KV2 will now have a reduced CP requirement, but it will require tier 4 to be built. Okay, that makes sense. CP requirement to 10 CP now requires mechanized armor campagna. Okay, that seems reasonable. Yeah, that again, you're probably gonna still see it come out pretty quickly. In my eyes, again, you're reducing the CP, and that's like the biggest. That's the biggest hindrance for armored vehicles. It's not the tier of the building. It's the CP getting to that, and I'm just curious how quickly people can unlock that and then use it. And defensive tactics. Oh boy, we feel this commander was slightly underpowered because of some of its abilities being lackluster. Yeah, the commander has received a small overhaul to hopefully make it a better pick. Tank traps and mines have been combined. Again, I don't know why you use cheap mines. Okay, I see why you use cheap mines, but I like the demos and I like normal mines more. Anti-tank overwatch added. That, simply put, that's great. That allows it a little bit more to be a little bit more effective, and overall I think that will help. I don't think that's going to necessarily shoot it up in the top tier, but at least it went from terrible to now just fine. It's not amazing, it's not terrible, it's fine now. So that's cool. Oh shoot, they already changed some things. So Rifleman, we think Riflemen are solid infantry that scale well. We would like to put more emphasis on their engagement range dynamics between them and long-range axis. Their range and thereby their DPS will be slightly increased. Oh boy, which have been slightly increased their mid-range DPS up to range. Oh, wonderful. Rear echelon troops. Rear echelon to make rear echelon carbines perform more consistently, as currently they are very RNG dependent with their low accuracy but high rate of fire and damage. Their accuracy has been increased. In return, their damage per bullet will be reduced to keep the same total DPS. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Sure. Again, fine. Again, that makes a lot more sense. Rear echelons are always one of those like hit and miss infantry where sometimes they do incredibly well and sometimes not. But if it's based on RNG, that makes a lot of sense. But overall, what do I think of this patch? My biggest concern is the heavy tanks. Especially if people get them out very early. That's my biggest concern in this. Again, I think a lot of these are positive upgrades. I think defensive tactics, Parsons, them fixing, positive. IS-2, positive. KV-1, positive. Shock troops, positive. Again, it may be decreasing solid strategies that people like to do, like shock troops just constantly throwing smoke, but it's worth it. Fixing, correcting just confusing grammar and just confusing tags. Great. The Zis gun I'm a little bit disappointed by, but that's fine. Combat engineers, fine. Again, 7-man squads, fine to an extent. We'll currently see how that works. Maxim, fine. Sport weapon campagnas, great. Again, all these are awesome. Like, again, I'm trying to like see if there's any that I was really negative to. Again, the CP thing is the biggest issue, just how standardizing that. Bunker fix, great, make them easier to kill. Half-track, again, I am curious to see how this does with healing. Like I said, I feel like this might have unintended consequences. What I'm thinking about of it, this doing is it being a cheaper alternative to a bunker, because essentially the bunker allows 2 bunkers, 120 munitions, 300 manpower, you heal your infantry, whatever. This half-track will essentially remove those bunkers. Again, you could technically have the bunkers for your allies, but for like a 1v1 game, now it's like gonna be a lot cheaper to get a half-track and heal it that way than possibly a bunker. Again, curious to see how that goes. Maybe not for the base, but for like forward bases. The mortar might be slightly overpowered. We shall see. I think the increasing the counter barrage range is already very good. I don't know why you would need to do that. But again, that's just me. Rifle Company fix is good. Time of target's good. Pershing's fine. Again, all the heavy tanks, I've already gone into that. That's, again, fixing issues that are known to the game. Great. Jackson, again, I don't know why you'd increase it. I think it's fine where it is, but that's just me. Crocodile Churchill Aviary, fine. Emplacements, again, great. You can tear them down. Personally, I would rather have you just have of the Ford assembly actually give them the bonuses, but that's just me. Churchill, like I said, I don't think you're changing much with it. It's slightly more, but I don't think that's going to be a huge impact. Firefly, great. You made it a lot better for those. Cromwell, great. Comet, great. Sniper, great. Vickers, you may make this thing slightly more overpowered. Just slightly overpowered. Even slightly increased, slightly overpowered. But yeah, I think that might be it. Infantry section I'm mixed on. I want to see them in action before I make a final judgment call. But I think this could be a big question honestly for this, because I'm very curious to see if you reduce it, especially when they just said they're increasing Rifleman. If you decrease infantry section to that extent, how effective are British infantry going to be in games with Fallschirmjägers and Noble Soldaten? Because that's already just right on par. So that's just me. That's just me. Salvage, fine. Tiger, again, we'll see about the CP stuff. Sturm Officer, curious to see how this goes with the change. Assault Artillery's fine. Sector Artillery's fine. Yes, that's fine. Fallschirmjäger, again, I have concerns that this might make them overpowered, but that's just me. So, honestly, I think a lot of these are fine, but I feel like some of these may be making certain things overpowered. Sturm Officer, fine. Command Panther, fine. Like, Radio Silence, Overwatch, the Hetzer's fine. Again, I don't care for it, but I know a lot of people do. For a specific role, it's great, but that's just me. Fine. Oboe Blitz Truck's fine. Now access to ambulance's healing ability. Again. Okay, so actually, hold on. I just thought about this. Instead of, I want to see the cost of this, because I wonder if it would be better in certain situations to have this instead of a medical base for certain areas. I'm just thinking about it. Actually, this could be working for people. Like, people wouldn't not necessarily need to rush a medical base if they went this doctrine, because they could use the blitz trucks to heal their units, and then they could go for mechanized, and then they can go for. Okay, that's actually a pretty strong strategy. Again, strategy, not overpowered, not underpowered. Just thinking about strategies. Tiger's fine. Half-track's fine. For Kenwerfer, we'll see how things go. No more sneak attacks. People might be slightly upset. At least mobile sneak attacks. Kubel, we'll see. I hope it makes you better. MG, fine. Storm Pioneers, like I said, fine. Volk Squad's fine. I think that's worth it, honestly. They are quite powerful. Headquarters, fine. Yeah, Starting Resources, fine. Like I said, most of this stuff, I'm not seeing any huge, oh my god, they're ruining the game type things in here. I'm honestly not. The biggest thing in this that I can see is my concern of heavy tanks and some infantry units being slightly underpowered and slightly overpowered. The Fallschirmjägers and Riflemen maybe increasing that slightly over. Again, I need to test it out to see. And then on the flip side, yeah, the heavy tanks. Just we'll see. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's it for this patch preview. Let me know what you guys think. I've been ranting on for close to an hour at this point, so you guys are like, dear God, end the video now. But I think there was a lot to go over in this video, and I hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, no, that's just my thoughts on it. Again, I do need to play it. I do need to test it and see how things are. Again, there's still plenty of time before it's released. I know, like, the last major patch, it went through several implementations and changes before they finally released it. So yeah, I think that overall this is a very good step forward. I don't think that anything really tumbles and falls. I have a concern here or there, but overall I think this is a very good positive step for balancing multiplayer. And again, I love how this game's like, what, at this point 6 years old, and they keep changing it up, and it makes it better, makes it fresh, makes it interesting, which is great. Again, the fact that literally all of a sudden 6 years into a game, a certain spam can come up because players like test out all these strategies and find this unit's the best, and then we'll use that, and they have to change it, or this strategy works with this strategy, and they find new tactics. 6 years into a game's release is, and also the fact they're supporting this game for this long, is just awesome. Even I know a lot of it's community based, but it's still awesome. So again, positive things overall, I think. But this has been Greyshot17 and Tally for a quick moment, and I'll see you guys next time. Wait a second, before you guys go, I have a couple people I need to give a shout out to because they are so amazing, awesome, and just really supportive of my content. Those people include Milam, Ace, Chris Bailey, Folkvard, Javi, Jfoe, Joey, jrchicklis, Little Koosh, Mustaach, Onlyplayapples, PyroShark, Streakingwookie, GTA, Jakub, Ocwieja, and Kevin Gao. Thank you guys so much for your incredible support. You guys are amazing. This has been Greyshot17, and I'll see you guys next time.